done that in a while. Yes, people, what is going down? What is happening? What is popping? Just bear with me while I just share quickly to reconnecting. Okay, yes, people, what is going down? It is, of course, DJ Ash Noble here. Welcome back to another stream. Today we are doing the chain reaction aftermath. So we haven't done one of these in a while. It feels like forever since we've done one of these, because obviously I got hacked and everything, and I've not had that many gigs going on so far this year, and there hasn't been a whole lot of things going on. We've had a quiet sort of start to the year, so it's been a little bit on the quiet side. So we haven't done many of these aftermaths here on YouTube. But today we are doing, I believe, one of the first ones of the year, which is pretty crazy to say. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about the radio updates later on in the stream as well. If you don't know about the radio, if you're not if you're not aware, I will explain the full story later on. But for people that have seen it, for people that do know about it, there is going to be an update in regards to, what you already know, if that makes sense. So, Chain Reaction had their next event the Friday just gone in the Network nightclub in Sheffield. It was Sean's birthday, who is kind of like the head honcho of Chain Reaction. And he put Chain Reaction with a Makina twist on, which was kind of like an event that had some more Makina sets on it, and there was a Makina headliner with a Makina headliner MC as well from the northeast, which was really good, because Makina is quite a well-liked genre of music, and we don't get much of it like round this area too much, because it's more of a northeast thing. Big ups. So when we hear it like round this area, it's quite sometimes refreshing to hear. Although, like, I'm not I like it, but I'm not a massive lover of it. It's not my favourite genre. It is still so it's still a genre that I like, and there was a period of my life where I actually really did like it, and I used to MC to it quite a lot. Big ups for liking. So that's obviously that's obviously the cool thing in that sense. So they put their event on, and myself and DJ Kleiny, we went back to back on the opening set. So the opening set took place, obviously, first set of the night, which was 9:45. I'm going to be completely honest and truthful. A 45-minute B2B set is, it feels like a really long, it feels like a really short set, because you've only got 45 minutes, and then when you're sharing it with somebody else, like, you really do lose the amount of tracks that you mix in, and you really feel like you just start the set, and then before you know it, the next DJ is kind of stand behind you, and he's getting his headphones out, and he's getting ready to go on, which is that is obviously a little bit of a gutting thing. I think, personally, if you're doing a back-to-back for an hour or a 90-minute set, by all means, but a 45-minute set that's B2B, just for me personally, I think it's just a little bit too short, and I just don't feel, I kind of almost feel like, you just get into your set and then you sort of get to the end of the set, because in that B2B, depending how you work a back-to-back, there's like a period of time where during the set where you're standing there while the other person's mixing two tracks, that they play two tracks, then you play two tracks. So, yeah. No. Somebody wake me up. Why do you look like the self? I don't even know who that is, bro. Never heard of that guy. Anyway, so we did the set. Still really good, enjoyable set. Played some absolute bangers. and had a really, really good time. And the crowd were absolutely up for it. People was arriving at this point. So a bit later on in the set, it got a little bit more lively, but like there was people that came in from the start and they were absolutely buzzed. And we had a really good, just a really good way to start the night, really, with what was to come. Played some really nice sort of sing-alongs and tracks that people could just enjoy and sing along to. And then we went on from there, and sort of I took things a little bit harder towards the end of the set, just because I wanted to, and I thought like that would be a really, really cool thing to do, to take something a little bit more harder towards the end, when a lot of the other sets are going to be harder as well. But we had a really, really good time. And then I just really got to witness the rest of the night, to be honest, which there was, what I will say that was really good about this event was there was some really good sets. There was a lot of different sets. There was a lot of variety. So like each set kind of brought its kind of like own vibe. So like we came in and we kind of played like bounce, and we played some newer bounce, and we played some kind of like like some newer stuff. And I played some of my own remixes and stuff. And then the next DJ came on and he kind of played like a David Rust, kind of like a hard techno, kind of like a hard trance, like a newer hard trance styled set. And then Erwin came on afterwards and kind of played like a classic donk set. So he had all like your Wigan Pier, Tutti Frutti. He played stuff like the original Ozone Bounce, and played stuff like the Riddle, the Irish Whistle, donk tune, and played some, some like really, really good sort of like classic sort of like bounce tracks from back in the day. And then you had like the hardcore sets and the Makina sets, and you just had a really, really good sort of mixture of different, different sets, really. People playing different styles of music, and it really kind of broke the night up really, really good. So I enjoyed listening to a lot of the other sets. I enjoyed having a bit of a laugh with some of the other artists. Although I did get told that apparently in some of the pictures I looked a little bit bored. And I think to a degree, like I enjoyed all the sets, but to a degree, I won't lie, I was a little bit bored, and it was nothing against the event. It was just for me personally now, like I've changed a lot in like who I am, like and I've become like back in a couple of years ago, like yeah, I was a DJ, I was an artist, but I was still a raver. And now, as daft as it sounds, I kind of feel like I've got bored of being a raver. Like I don't really know how to describe it, but like it's almost like I enjoy being there and doing my sets. I enjoy listening to a couple of other sets, but like the days of where I just want to like absolutely go havoc on the dance floor as like absolutely just gone. Like I had a little dance to a couple of the sets, but like me now personally, I'd rather do my set. I'd rather sit down somewhere and listen to the other sets and just have a chat with somebody, as opposed to going onto the dance floor and going crazy. Whereas a couple of years ago, like I wanted to go to an event for the beginning of the event, and I wanted to be the first in and the last out. Now I kind of feel like I've changed, because I'm like doing more of an artist thing, and that is obviously, I think that is kind of like what goes on nowadays. Like I've just changed into more of an artist, and it's really weird, but it's a good vibe. It's like I still enjoy the events. Like I really do still enjoy the events. It's just like I do feel now like I just don't feel like I can rave it out for hours on end, and it's really mad because I'm still young. I'm still young. But I think maybe I just wasn't feeling it that night. Maybe I'll get it back. Who knows? I'm not really sure what it was. I just know that I didn't want to dance all night. Like I'd much rather have like just sat somewhere, but like the only issue was is nobody else was really just sat somewhere. Like, you know, everybody was either dancing or raving, or it was an artist doing a set. There was nowhere really like where loads of artists just sat. And that kind of in a way like really baffles me, because like there's an area in that club, and it's like roped off, and it is like a almost like a VIP area with some seats. And in all fairness, like they don't really make it look like somewhere where like artists could go, if that makes sense. So like you've got it there, but like there's nothing really like saying like, you know, this is where artists can go, and the promoter's not saying like, oh yeah, you can, you know, all artists, you can go in this little bit and you can sit in here if you want. So people like who were kind of playing sets and things, they were kind of just standing on the stage when they weren't doing the set. Like they'd turn up, they'd stand on the stage, or they'd stand at the side of the stage. And I'm thinking, you know, like we could utilize that area and have like some artists sat in there and just make it look a bit more like the artist area. Like when there's a dedicated area there, but it's like it wasn't getting used, which was a little bit like, oh, you know, what's going on? But you know, apart from that, like, you know, like I say, really, really good vibe of the night. The only thing that I will say is they do need to definitely sort something out with the MCs. I'm not normally one to, you know, like I had a really enjoyable event, don't get me wrong, and this is nothing against, you know, anybody. But some of the MCs were just like, you know, like they weren't giving the music a break. And, you know, don't get me wrong, like I've MC'd myself for a good 10 years, and I love a good MC, and I love a person who can, you know, go in with some really fast bars, and, you know, and I do like the bars and the lyrics. I'll admit it, I'm a person that loves it. However, I do believe in like letting tracks breathe. I don't like people that spit over vocals. And I don't like people that just, like I said, genuinely don't let the track breathe. And some people, and not just people that were booked to MC, but people that had like just gone up and they'd been given an opportunity to grab the mic, like they're just like not giving the track chance to breathe. And then there was one guy, I'm not going to name him, but like there was a set on, and he'd grabbed the mic, and I don't know if he was on the lineup or not, but he wanted this DJ that was a hardcore DJ to play Makina, and this hardcore DJ. He was back to back with somebody that was playing Makina, so it was like a hardcore versus Makina set. So like this guy was mixing his hardcore, the other guy was sort of doing some Makina-ish stuff. And this MC wanted this hardcore DJ to play Makina, and he couldn't play Makina because he had hardcore on his stick. And this guy wouldn't have it, and he was shouting down the mic, and he was like, you know, saying like, turn this shit off, and you know, change the music, and, you know, we want Makina, we don't want this shit hardcore. You know, but he's saying it down the mic, like where everybody can hear it. And at this point, I'd been given the opportunity to grab the mic, and I was trying to really people were wanting me to like go for it, you know, people were wanting me to kind of do stuff on the mic, and it was really hard to work with this guy because the drop had come in, and then like you like the drop had be coming, and you think he's gonna spit. So I'm like, all right, I won't go because I think he's gonna say something. And then the track drops and he doesn't say anything. Then I go to say something, and then he starts saying something, and it was like really hard to work with. And then he'll start spitting a verse, but then he'll leave it on like a really awkward. So like he'll spit like 5 bars. Rather than like, you know, going to 6 bars, he'll spit 5 bars and then he'll leave it, or he'll come in and finish at like really awkward times in a track, which is like, you know, because obviously I write songs and I write lyrics, and they follow to some extent, they follow bars. So I've got like certain verses that are like 16 bars long, or I've got certain rhymes that are 8 bars long. So like when somebody like spits a bar but they only spit 5 bars and then they finish, like it makes it awkward for me to spit the 8 bars, because there isn't the, you know, because like I'm gonna run out of, like, you know, the track will change before I finish spitting the bars. Do you know what I mean? or I'll finish spitting the bars and there'll still be like, so much space left where I could have still been spitting, but because the rhyme's finished, and it makes it really awkward. And he was just like, he was a really bad person to work with. And then and then there was like a point in a track, there was a vocal playing, and then he's going down the mic and he's like, "Go on, Noble, spit bars." Like, go on, Noble, go in, go on, give it some. And I'm thinking there's a vocal. And then a woman comes up to me and says, "Don't be afraid, you get on that mic and go on." I'm like, I'm not afraid. There's literally a vocal in the track. And like, it was a vocal track that people, like the crowd, they were liking it and they wanted to sing to it. But that MC was just not giving them that chance to do that. And that was kind of really what kind of, I'm not gonna lie, it annoyed me, because like this guy, I was just thinking like, why is he even being allowed to be on the mic, especially when he's shouting down the mic and he's being offensive. Like, it's no, like, I'm not being funny, but you wouldn't see somebody like Storm or Wizkid turn up to a set and then start swearing down the mic and saying, to turn this shit off, and acting just like a drunken state on the mic. And I'm just thinking like, it is not a good, so that was probably, if I had to have any downer on the night, which, there wasn't really a downer on the night because I had a really, really good time. But I would say that was like something for me that I just thought was like, nah. Like, you don't go on a mic and do that. And, don't get me wrong, like, I've done things on mics that I'm not proud of. I've got really drunk and grabbed a microphone before and sounded awful. But, I've learned from my mistakes, like, I wouldn't do that now. Like, I did that like 4 or 5 years ago. Like, when I used to MC at Stomping quite a lot, like, I was a bit of a drinker back then. I went to the raves. I was more of a raver, stroke pushing through as an MC. So back then I used to have a little bit more of a drink, because that was, I wasn't I wasn't just going to MC. Like, I was more going to rave, and quite a lot of the times I wasn't even on the flyers, or like I wasn't booked, and like they'd just like, "Oh, do you want to grab the mic?" Or they'll let me grab the mic, but it wasn't like an official booking kind of thing. So, I'd have had a few bevies, and then one of the MCs would have allowed me to go on, and, the club promoter, the event promoter didn't mind it, so I'd go on, and then it was almost kind of like, I'd already had a few by then, and then I think there was one time it was my birthday, and I got absolutely blathered. I got absolutely, literally, like, I got absolutely wrecked to the point where, like, I don't even remember, like, getting back to my friend's house where I was crashing. So, like, I've been there and I've done that, but like, I wouldn't do it now. And like, I've learned a lot since then. And it's all, and it's not a good image, like, especially if you are wanting to push yourself as an MC, if you want to get to be doing more events. Like, I'm not being funny, like, if you went to somewhere like Ravers Reunited or something, or like a big hardcore night, where the really, or like the Clubland events, and they want you to MC or host the stage. Like, if you turned up and you were babbling down a mic like that, and then you were turning to the DJ and turn this shit off, we want the Makina on, and rah rah rah, like, they aren't gonna want you on that stage or lineup. Like, that would probably be your first and only ever booking with them, because you wouldn't be the criteria for what they'd probably want. So yeah, I would say that was kind of really the only thing that really kind of like put a little bit of a downer on the night. Apart from that, like, the music was good. Like I say, all the sets were absolutely amazing. The vibe was good. I saw some people that I haven't seen for a while. I also met some new friends as well, which is always nice. And just had like a really fun time in that sense. It's always good when you meet new people. You have a little bit of a laugh. And it was nice to get out to an event as well, like, because obviously, like, I've been a little bit quieter this year so far. I've had a few things, obviously, with my nan dying and my aunt dying, and a few different bits and bobs, and the computer breaking. that kind of thing. And a few various bits and bobs have just not obviously completely worked out for me. So to get out somewhere and just be among some music and to socialize, that was kind of a nice thing for me in that sense. So I was kind of like happy, kind of happy about that. But yeah, so a good event. There's obviously going to be more of them, like it isn't the last event, so that they'll be planning the next one, which will be really good, and hopefully you'll see me at that one, and it's going to be really, really good. I'm looking forward to it. I'm absolutely I can't wait. In that sense, big shout to is it Tackett? Big shout to you. Sorry if I'm saying your name wrong there, but big ups to you. So anyway, so that being said, let's move on to the radio updates. So for those of you who didn't watch I don't think it was the last stream I did, it might have been the stream before, then you won't know what's going on basically, but I will give you the rundown of basically what's happening. So essentially, there's a guy in the city of Hull who goes by the name of Andy P. He works in the community, and he does a lot of different things. He does loads of different things. A big thing what he does is he's an artist. He does like artwork. He's done paintings around the city of Hull. He works in community centres. He does a whole range of different things. And one thing that he used to do, he used to work for a radio station in Hull called West Hull FM. That now no longer exists. It does, but it changed its name and it had a revamp. Very long time ago, well, a couple of years ago, he was still working for that radio station. We got in contact with them about potentially doing some form of show on the radio station, and basically we set up some stuff where some kind of podcasty things were going to go out on to the on this West Hull radio, and I think a couple of episodes went out, and then basically, to cut the story short, we didn't hear anything from them for a while. I was trying to contact, and then eventually I got through to him. I think I ended up seeing him somewhere in town, and then I found out he left the station, kind of thing. So anyway, cut the story short, he got in touch with me about 4 weeks ago now, and said that he's launching a new radio station himself, a community radio station called CC Radio, and he's going to promote loads of things happening in the community basically, and around the city of Hull. So what events are on, what things are happening in the city, and also a big part of this station is going to be giving young people the chance to broadcast their own radio show. So it's a radio station, however it's the only way I can describe it is it's kind of trying to think the best way to describe it, because it is a radio station, but there's more leeway to it than if you would say to go and work on BBC Radio, there would be certain things that you have to do that we necessarily don't have to do. The thing about our station is it's about the accessibility of being able to broadcast onto a radio station. It's also about giving people that opportunity. So people who, for example, want to get into broadcasting, it gives them that kind of really sort of early basic where, look, it's about getting people's voices on. It's about getting people heard. It's a small funded project. It's not listen, we've got we've got a £10,000 kitted out radio studio with all the latest and greatest software, and massive mic mixers that channel into the BBC News, and we have to read weather updates out, and we have to follow like Ofcom licenses. It's more about the fact of there's an online radio station here. It's going to promote things that are happening in Hull. It's going to give young people a chance to broadcast live on air. It's going to have a website. It's going to have an app that you can download on your iPhone, on your Android. It's gonna, you can listen to it via a smart speaker, so you can listen to the station pretty much the same way you can listen to a big station. The only differences is like in the way like we're gonna run the station, if that makes sense. So like when you go onto a big station, like there's certain things that you can and can't do, and things that you can't say, whereas this station, because it's only like an online thing and we're not actually like an Ofcom regulated station, we can kind of, in a way, to a degree, we can say what we want, if that makes sense. And that's not like meaning that we're just going to go online and go on air and say a whole bunch of swear words. What I'm trying to say is like, it doesn't have to sound as professional as something like listening to BBC Radio, because it's about giving people a chance and giving people a go. It's about letting somebody go onto the microphone and have their say about something. We're not saying that the sound quality is going to be absolutely terrible, but what we're saying is it doesn't have to be in the most high definition audio quality that it can be in. I mean, obviously the better it sounds, the better. But what we're saying is it's more about the accessibility of being able to go onto this station and do shows. People are gonna do shows sort of like on the go, so like people can, who are going to do shows, like they can record it from home, for example. They can record it anywhere. You don't necessarily have to go into a big kind of like studio, because we're not at that level for that yet. So, like I say, the difference between us and kind of like a bigger station is like we're more about like, we're just a smaller online station where it's more about giving people that chance to have a go. It's more about, getting people on the airwaves, as opposed to we are a proper station. In time, things could change. The station could grow and get bigger. I hope it does. I hope like the station can grow, and then if we do have to if we do have to sort of like change some of the ways we do things in the future, then we do. But like at the moment, it's just that, hey, look, there's something here that you can listen to. It's going to promote what's happening in the local area, and also it's going to give maybe that very first basic pathway for a young person who wants to get into radio, because we hear of radio stations all the time. We listen to them, when we get in the car, they come on. When we go into shops, they're normally on in the background. If we're in sometimes in a restaurant or a cafe, sometimes there's a radio on in the background. If we're in a shopping centre, there's a radio station on in the background. But how do we go on the radio? How do you present on the radio? How do you get into that kind of like line of work of going onto a radio station? How does it even happen? So we're kind of trying to get a pathway of like, look, this is a little bit of a, you could take them initial first steps of jumping into jumping onto an easy bit of software, playing some music, talking on a mic, and having your first go at essentially broadcasting, which is the really cool thing about it. So, and with that being said, like we are still obviously, we've got a station name, we're going to have jingles, we're going to obviously have like social medias, we are going to have proper radio shows. So it's going to work like a proper station, I suppose just like what we're saying is like the audio isn't always going to sound exactly crisp, and like the way, you know, presenters aren't going to be the most professional presenters on planet Earth, and sometimes things, you know, things may go wrong. You know, it's not like, you know, if you blare with your words, for example, we're going to turn around and say, look, you aren't ready for this. You can't do this again, because it's about, you know, giving people a chance. It's about people learning and getting them on the airwaves. Whereas if you went to a bigger radio station and then you was stuttering and you was blah, 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 they would be like, look, you're not ready for this, which, you know, in sense, you're not ready for the bigger stations. So anyway, so that's the score. So the station was originally going to be funded for 16 weeks. So we had 16 weeks to do this kind of like mini project of hosting some radio shows, you know, getting some young people the chance to broadcast. And then essentially we was going to aim to try and extend the funding. That was kind of the plan. The good news is that looks very promising. So now it looks quite promising that the station can be funded for up to a year. Also means that I'll be doing more things with the station than I was originally doing, and it's going to become more like a second job for me, which is going to be absolutely fantastic. I'm really, really looking forward to doing that. And it means that like I'll be able to dedicate more time to it as well. So I'm going to do like some shows myself. I'm quite looking forward to doing some radio shows myself, and hearing them go out like live on air and stuff. And I'm really looking forward to, you know, really, really doing some cool things. So anyway, that is kind of like the updates. So today I have been with the person who is kind of bringing the project to life. We have clicked go on the software. So now we can log into the radio software where we're going to put all the shows together. I have been working very hard on setting stuff up. So like there's already so far there is loads of music that is already on this station right now, mainly dance music, because that's what I have had access to. I've got more than just dance music, but because my computer's broke. So but there's loads of like commercial kind of dance tunes. So for example, I did just see it, so here it is. So for example, I have got like the original radio edit of The Key to Secret from the 90s. So I'm just loading this into a player now, and you'll hear it in a second, providing the wire is still... The wire's a bit dodgy. I'm on a really crappy little laptop at the moment. But yeah, if I click this, you should hear some audio. Here we are. So I've got things like that on the station that isn't going to be too heavy. There's no there's no rave on here. There's no like bounce or donk. There is some I guess there's some kind of like bass line. There's a couple of bass liney tracks that are going onto this station now, but I do want to bring some rave onto this station. Of course I do. That is of course something I want to do, but I don't want to just fill it with rave. There's loads of different things that we need to get, if that makes sense. But there's stuff like this. Oh yeah, that's the volume. So there's that is a little bit more. So there's stuff like that as well. So like a couple of remixes. I'm just trying to see like if where I can find like where it might be. Where might it be? I'm just trying to see where it would be. Okay, Zombie Nation, for example. So Zombie Nation. So I think this one here is that, this goes into a little bit more of a heavyish drop. I'm not certain, but I think it's a little bit more of a, not a rave drop. I mean, I don't really know. I'll have to listen to it. I think it goes into like, let's have a look. Yeah, so it's a bit more. So a little bit more, pumpy. So there's a bit of a mix in here. That's the kind of whole. There's a bit of a mix in here, but then there is some soul music in here that I didn't. It wasn't me that had it. It was the guy who owns the station. He kind of has it, but then I do also have some like 80s and things. So, for example, I think if we go down here, I believe this is Casey and JoJo with All My Life from the 80s. Then I've got some like noughties kind of funky house, Ministry of Sound, so like a Man Van Helden, Uniting Nations, that kind of thing. But if I play this, yeah. So I've got some stuff like this, and then I've got some like 80s rock and things to put on. We've got some like R&B stuff that I want to put on as well. So we can kind of have like a really good mix, if that makes sense. So it isn't just obviously going to play like pumping house tunes all the time. And then hopefully we can start scheduling sort of like certain times where like certain genres of music will play. So maybe like through the day, like in between, like when there isn't a show on, for example, it'll maybe play like more kind of like the R&B commercial stuff, and then when it gets to later at night, then it might play some more of like the housey stuff. But if the house track is commercial enough, then it might play it through the day, depending what it is. Like obviously that Zombie Nation probably wouldn't be something that you would listen, that would come on at like 10 o'clock in the morning. Whereas I don't know, maybe like Uniting Nations, Out of Touch, it's a little bit funky, it's not too bangy though. So that you could probably get away with that coming in at 10 in the morning. But like the Zombie Nations and things, they're probably more things that, you might hear it at like 8 o'clock at night, or, So that's kind of the score. So I'm just kind of like, we're doing a lot of setting up. There's loads of things to do still. We're still kind of building the website as well, which is where you'll listen to the station. We've got the apps to build. We've got a couple of weeks to do it. So there's going to be, I've got a lot of busy days coming up where I've just got to go and, find loads of different styles of music and stuff like that. And just essentially something that will be like, just really, 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 really wicked. That'll be really, really good. Absolutely spot on. So I'm really looking forward to it, and I think the station has got everything in its power to grow. And it's one of them things where like you don't know unless you try. Like unless you physically sit there and you give it a go, like you don't know whether it's going to do well or not. Like it's just one of them things. You've got to give it a try in order to kind of say, look, it's going to do well. that is like, the thing about it. But we'll see where it goes once it gets launched. I mean, I've got to do shows and things on here. I've got to find guests. There's a lot of things I need to do, a lot of preparing I need to do. But I'm not gonna lie, it's hard because like I'm kind of helping with the overall like managing and running the station as well, and I'm kind of helping to set the station up. So it's a bit hard for me to kind of like help set the station up and then kind of like be planning like to get my shows ready. Like I've got some vague planning of what my youth music show is going to be like, and I've got some guests and things like that, which is going to be really good. But like it's hard when I'm like like because I'm sorting the general station out as well, so like to be like ready to roll with a show is going to be quite hard, just to start with until like because I've got to get all of this stuff sorted first, but the only issue is like where I work, like because they're a funded organisation sometimes, sadly, which is the only thing that really annoys me about the job that I do, is like they want to sometimes see outcomes like too quick. Like they have to see outcomes too quick, like things have to happen like that, and sometimes like you things can't happen like that because things won't be good if they happen like that, if that makes sense. I can't click my fingers, by the way. But yeah, so for example, like sometimes like we put events on, and like we have 2 weeks to put the event on, and they have to see a deadline, and then they kind of like oh well only 10, only 6 people turned up to this event, oh there was only 6 people at this session, and I'm thinking, yeah, because you've given us like literally 2 weeks to announce that we're going to start a session, promote and advertise the session, and bring people in to a session, and sometimes it's not, and then the session's quiet for a couple of weeks, and then they're like, we're going to sit down and we're going to re-look over things, why the sessions aren't running that well. And sometimes that is because like there hasn't been long enough to promote it. But like the thing is sometimes they have like maybe like a 16-week sort of like budget of how long this session can kind of run for, weekly for 16 weeks, and it has to start on the so and so date, it has to end on the so and so date, which I understand that. But like sometimes, like especially when it comes to events, like you can't expect magic in a couple of weeks. Like if you want to put a good event on, like you need a good few weeks to kind of like get the event sort of well promoted. Like when I do the youth music events now, like we do them like every other month, and that like works better for me because like I get like a whole month basically to promote the next event, to find the artists and to get the artists and to get the acts going, if that makes sense. So in all honesty, like that would be something that that like works really well. Whereas like when you only have a couple of weeks to do it, like to get the good numbers and to get people to come to something, like it can be hard, it can be really hard. But with that being said, we'll get there. We'll find our way. We'll find our feet with this station. I am, like I say, big respect. I am super excited for this. So with that being said, make sure to like, make sure to comment, share. We'll see you soon.